Today on Space Week, we're talking about Jupiter. One day on Jupiter lasts for 9 hours and 56 minutes. Jupiter has the shortest day in the solar system. On average, Jupiter is 484 million miles away from the Sun. At its closest, it's 460 million miles, and at its furthest, it's 508 million miles. At its closest, Jupiter is 346 million miles from Earth. Jupiter weighs 2 septillion tons. The poles of Jupiter are minus 145 degrees Celsius. Jupiter moves 10 miles per second. A year on Jupiter is 11.9 Earth years. Babylonian astronomers were the first to have records of Jupiter back in 800 BC. The Babylonians called Jupiter Marduk. Marduk was the central god of ancient Mesopotamia, and he was the god of water. He's also a character in Tekken. At the moment of this video, at least 9 spacecraft have visited Jupiter. The most recent one was Juno in July 2016. Although you'd be 3 times lighter on Mars, you'd be 3 times heavier on Jupiter. In January 2015, the Hubble telescope caught a triple eclipse of Jupiter when its moons Io, Europa, and Callisto lined up perfectly in front of the gas giant. Despite the fact that Jupiter is 500 million miles away from the Sun, it's actually one of the brightest things in the sky. This is because it's so gigantic that it reflects more sunlight than almost anything in the solar system. When you see diagrams of the solar system, Jupiter always appears slightly larger than Saturn. This is only done so every planet can fit on the diagram. In reality, every planet in the solar system could easily fit in Jupiter with room to spare. But that's just its size. Jupiter's overall mass is 2.5 times greater than every planet in the solar system put together. Because of Jupiter's size, it gets hit by debris all the time. A visible impact can be seen on Jupiter through a telescope almost every year. On September 10th, 2010, a video recorded Jupiter being hit by a meteor. The impact is very visible, even from an amateur telescope. It is said to be the most powerful explosion ever recorded in our solar system. Jupiter was named after the Roman god of thunder. The ancient Greeks called him Zeus. He was the leader of the gods, so his name was given to the solar system's largest planet. Another reason Jupiter deserves its name is because the Roman god Jupiter was the protector of the other gods. The planet Jupiter actually protects other planets, especially Earth. Jupiter is so gigantic that most potential threats to Earth, like meteors and comets, will naturally get caught in Jupiter's gravity. The bigger a meteor is, the more likely it will get ensnared by Jupiter's gravitational pull. Once they become too close to Jupiter, the comet and meteors tend to be ripped apart by Jupiter's gravity, or they are hurled into interstellar space. If Jupiter didn't exist, Earth could have been destroyed by an asteroid or meteor many times over. Jupiter's diameter is 88,844 miles. That's 11 times wider than Earth. 1,000 Earths could fit into Jupiter. Jupiter has 300 times more mass than Earth. Jupiter has countless storms raging for years, but the most powerful storm, and the most famous, is the Great Red Spot. The spot is usually referred to as a hurricane, but it's actually an anticyclone. The Great Red Spot storm moves at 300 miles an hour. The Great Red Spot is 3 times larger than Earth. Imagine a storm that's triple the size of our planet. Remember that the next time you complain about the weather. The Great Red Spot keeps changing its size, shape, and color almost every year. Cyanide makes the spot look red. The Great Red Spot was spotted... Oh, I just realized that. I didn't even mean that. Anyway, it was noticed 300 years ago. This means that this storm has been raging for at least 3 centuries non-stop. For all we know, it could have been going on for millennia. No satellite has ever taken a picture of Jupiter's surface. The pictures you have seen of Jupiter only show the planet's clouds. Technically, Jupiter doesn't have a surface, since it's just made of gas. If you could pass through the clouds of Jupiter and keep moving down, the planet's gaseous state would become thicker until it took on a liquid texture, but you would never be able to reach a solid surface. Jupiter boasts the biggest ocean in the solar system. The liquid hydrogen ocean makes up 78% of the planet's radius and is 33,884 miles deep. By comparison, Earth's deepest ocean is the Challenger Deep in the Mariana Trench, which is 7 miles deep. That means that Jupiter's deepest ocean is nearly 5,000 times deeper than Earth's. Astronomers don't know if Jupiter has a core. Although astronomers don't know that, they do know that its center is hotter than any other planet, reaching a temperature of 35,000 degrees Celsius. Not only is that way hotter than Venus, that's nearly 6 times hotter than the surface of the Sun. Any planet that is similar to Jupiter, a gas giant, is called a Jovian planet or a Jovian planet. Jupiter is made of dark stripes and bright stripes. The dark stripes are called belts, and the light stripes are called zones. The belts and zones swirl in opposite direction. This is very clear if you see videos of Jupiter in motion. The storms in Jupiter are so intense that the planet looks drastically different every few months. Some people believe that Jupiter is so big that it nearly became a star. Some even consider it a failed star. Although Jupiter is gigantic, it's far too small to be a star. Weirdly, Jupiter emits more heat than it receives from the Sun. It's the only planet in the solar system to do this. Every other planet gives and takes the same amount of heat. It takes 43.2 minutes for the Sun's light to reach Jupiter. Jupiter's magnetic field is so big that the planet is self-sustaining. It doesn't need energy and heat from the Sun like all the other planets. It just generates its own energy. Right now, Jupiter has 67 confirmed moons. When I was a kid, it was 32. So by the time you watch this video, there might be 70 or 80, I don't know. Jupiter's moons are called Metis, Adrastea, Amalthea, Thebe, Io, Europa, Ganymede, Callisto, Themisto, Leda, Himalaya, Lysithea, Ilara, Dia, Europe, Thelxinu, Eunithe, Orthosi, Iocaste, Praxidike, Harpalike, Nemi, Carpo, Hermippe, Thyone, Anake, Herse, Acne, Kale, Tegeti, Chaldane, Ariname, Aodi, Kalashor, Kalike, Carme, Calaroe, Eurydomi, Pasithi, Kore, Silene, Euclide, really? Pasipha, Hegemony, Arche, Isono, Sinope, Spone, Otone, and Megaclite. There are 16 other moons, but they have not been named yet. In 1610, Galileo saw 3 objects circling around Jupiter through his telescope. A week later, he discovered a 4th object. This was a huge deal because it proved that not everything in the universe revolved around the Earth, literally. These objects were Jupiter's moons, Ganymede, Callisto, Io, and Europa. They became known as the Galilean moons. Callisto is the most cratered object in the solar system. It's a moon version of a pimply teenager. Ganymede is the biggest moon in the solar system, measuring 3,274 miles across. It's bigger than Mercury and almost as big as Mars. A salted ocean lies beneath the surface of Ganymede. Images from the Hubble telescope show features of the moon's surface were probably formed by floodwater emerging through faults of cryovolcanoes. A cryovolcano is a volcano that spews ice instead of lava. Isn't space awesome? The European Space Agency has announced that funding is available for the Jupiter Icy Moons Explorer, which is known as JUICY, to launch probes to explore the body and other moons by 2030. Ganymede is the only moon in the solar system to have a magnetic field. Jupiter has northern and southern lights like Earth. Io orbits Jupiter so tightly that it can revolve around the planet in a day, which is astounding considering Jupiter's vast size. It is the most volcanic moon or planet in the solar system. Right now, at this very second, there's volcanoes on Io erupting. They are erupting all the time. Io has magma oceans. Some of Io's volcanic blasts are so powerful that they can spew lava out of the atmosphere. These eruptions can be visible from space. Lava spews so regularly on Io that the moon's surface changes dramatically every few months. Since Io is basically a planet-sized volcano, you would assume that it would sound like an eruption. This is what it sounds like. You might wonder how Io has so much energy. Why doesn't it run out of lava? Earth has many dead volcanoes. How can Io's volcanoes still be active? It's because of the other moons. Since Jupiter has so many moons, there are dozens of moons hurtling past Io, which affects the moon's tides and heat through friction. It's like how our moon affects Earth's tides. Although it's not visible in pictures, Jupiter has rings like Saturn. It has 4 rings. Jupiter's atmosphere sounds like this. The moon Amalthea is so close to Jupiter that if you could stand on Amalthea's surface, Jupiter would cover half the sky. Jupiter's moon Europa has more water under its surface than all of the oceans of Earth. Europa's water is salty. Since life on Earth began in salt water, it's very likely that the waters of Europa harbor life. Their life will probably be very basic, like microorganisms, or at the very best, fish, but any form of life outside of Earth is fascinating to astronomers. To properly explore Europa, scientists want to build a squid-like robot to explore its oceans. Some of Jupiter's planets are so tiny that it's been theorized that they used to be asteroids that escaped from the asteroid belt when they got snagged by Jupiter's gravity. This makes sense as tiny moons like Thebe and Kale are irregularly shaped unlike the other spherical moons. Another theory suggests that these tiny moons used to be fused together before they were struck by a meteor or a comet. Hundreds of asteroids orbit Jupiter. They are too small to be classified as moons. Personal thanks to these fine people for all their help. Thanks for watching. See you again.